Okay, back to Carnivore Response videos. I didn't feel like getting this person's name, so I'm just going to call this Carnivore Response 2. I'm responding to a series of comments left on one of my spherage videos. The only problem with a raw primal diet is that it's very expensive. Absolutely eclipses the cost of about any other diet. Raw butter, $20 a pound. Raw cheese, $20 a pound. Cheapest cuts of grass-fed beef are usually around $10 a pound. Fatty cuts like New York strip and ribeye, $20 a pound or more. Raw liver is around $6. But so cheaper, but it makes sense to eat liver once a week. Maybe once a week, not every day. I told him I'm going to respond by saying if a budget is a concern, a high-carb, low-fat diet is the cheapest diet out there. 20-pound bag of rice where I live costs $17. Throw in dried beans, which you can cook, 98 cents to $1.50 a pound. Along with in-season fruit and veg, you have a diet fit for peasants while living with health like a king. What more do you want in a diet? Also, there are 3 issues with animal foods: sat fat, trans fat, and cholesterol. Also, trichinosis spiralis from raw pork is one of the worst parasites humans can get. So budget's not the only issue. Raw milk can vary from region to region and from what animal it comes from. Raw cow's milk can range from $6 to $16 a gallon, and goat milk is usually around the 16 per gallon mark. Raw unheated honey is also fairly expensive, though it can be bought in bulk. The price goes down and honey can't spoil, so you can honestly buy, say, a 5-year supply on the cheap, and the honey would be as good on day 1 as on the last day of the 5th year. Organic fruits are also expensive, and if I were eating fruits, I'd definitely prefer organic to avoid as many pesticides as possible. I say do what fits in your budget. Seafood's also widely expensive in general and astronomically when fresh. Hell, for most people, they have to live very close to sea to get fresh seafood because the government mandates wild-caught seafood to be frozen prior to sale, and the raw primal diet doesn't allow for previously frozen meats. There are people who cannot handle raw milk. My mom is one of them. She grew up on a dairy farm. Honey, I know, doesn't spoil, and you don't use much of it on a carnivore diet. But for me, I never cared for that product before I was vegan. I buy a carton of soy milk for a week for under $4, and I use it for cooking and making my breakfasts. That being said, it doesn't bother me that I spend $1,000 on food every month just on myself. Why in the F would I want to eat junk slave food? Vegan food is cheap, and as such, it's loaded with pesticides, herbicides, and so much junk. And when you combine it with the lack of animal fat to bind those toxins, plus the naturally occurring toxins in plants, you get really effed up. Then you have no animal protein or any other animal nutrients, and you just degenerate. It's incredibly amusing to me that somebody would follow a vegan diet. It's a joke of a diet, nutritionally incomplete, and it tastes like crap and make you sick. Vegan food only tastes like crap because you haven't found a way to season it. And raw vegans do exist, but I don't do that. I dare you to tell that to Okinawa, Japan, or the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. They eat rice and beans. In Okinawa, they eat rice, edamame, and sweet potatoes regularly. In the Nicoya Peninsula, they eat rice and beans at every meal. I don't consider myself being vegan a slave to junk food. My diet got better usually when I cut out the animal products. Also, animal protein is a huge burn on the kidneys. You guys might not know this, but I actually had a scare with my kidneys a few years ago, and I don't need a lot of animal protein because I've already have had kidney scare because of it. Also, going back to the amount of food you spend in a month on yourself is ridiculous to me. I spend maybe 150, anywhere from 100 to 150 a month on myself, including spices and excluding if I'm busy and get something on the go. All the nutrients you need you can get from a very balanced vegan diet. The Nicoya Peninsula, the 3 staples of their diet are squash, black beans, and corn tortillas, which provide a complete protein, the vitamins and minerals one needs to thrive. These people are the Guanacaste, the cowboys, are cowboys by trade and work long and difficult hours. The squash, black beans, and corn tortillas make up 70% of their diet. I cheat a lot on my raw primal diet, but it never bothers me. Then you don't follow it to a T. Because eating over 90% raw animal foods keeps me extremely strong, and I think actually cheating every so often is good so my body's always on the edge and ready to handle toxins. Of course, a vegan can't cheat then because he wouldn't be vegan. Sparage would have ever cast me out for having cooked steak every once in a while or enjoying some heavily processed junk food like hot Cheetos every once in a while. He'd just say I wouldn't achieve optimal health, and that is alright. Health vegans can cheat on plant-based meats and other such foods. Animal proteins produce a lot of toxins within the body, like TMAO, which, as Hench calls it, the molecule from hell. That's why the diet I recommend is fruits, vegetables, whole grains, tubers, and legumes. And when I told him that, this person said, "You will deteriorate with all that junk." Is what this person replied with. Well, I feel so much lighter and better than when I ate meat. My blood work has improved and I'm generally happier, so when is the deterioration supposed to set in? Some last longer than others, this person said. He'll eventually have to quit veganism because it's controlled starvation. Babies die on veganism because they have no nutrient stores. Babies die on veganism due to inadequately planned diets. Adults last longer, but not forever. I'll be eating raw primal for as long as I live because I enjoy it and I feel incredibly energetic and powerful, and I'm never sick. Health is priceless, that's why I spend so much on food. You are what you eat, and I am saturated fat, cholesterol, and animal protein, not plant matter. I eat fruits really as a treat more than anything. That's just sad. I will never quit veganism. It works for me and a lot of other people. The people whose vegan diets failed their health were doing fringe things like urine drinking, water fasting, extended periods of raw veganism, intermittent fasting, and the like. Veganism is not controlled starvation. Like I said, babies that die on veganism are fed inadequate diets. I don't want children, but if you are vegan and do decide to have children, breastfeed them until about 1 year old and around 6 months. Introduce soft foods like mashed beans and potatoes and stuff like that. Another issue that vegans who don't appropriately plan their diets is iodine deficiency, which since I eat sea vegetables and small amounts of iodized salt, that's fine. Also, I'm never sick apart from the occasional sinus headache or seasonal allergies. Also, there are people on YouTube that have been vegan their entire lives. They're doing great. Nina and Randa, word from Willie, have been vegan their entire lives and are thriving. So what you're saying at the end, though, is that you are heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Even the American Heart Association, which I will quote here, the American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fats, which are found in butter, cheese, red meat, and other animal-based foods. Decades of sound science has proven that it can raise your bad cholesterol and put you at a higher risk for heart disease. Really, fruits are a treat for you. That is sad because they are a staple in my diet, but I don't exclusively rely on them for energy. That's where the tubers, grains, and legumes come into play. Also, Dr. Esselstyn reversed heart disease with a high-carb, low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet, which your diet is a massive risk factor for. Peace.